Welcome to Mystic Mornings with Amy and Lana, a sacred space for soul-centered women to begin the day with intuition, intention, and a little bit of magic. We're your hosts, energy workers, mothers, healers, and friends, here to share grounded guidance, mystical insights, and morning musings to nourish your spirit. So pour your coffee, light a candle, and join us in the sacred pause. Let's begin.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Lana. How are you today?
I am, I'm feeling a little low on energy, actually. Just trying to navigate what's mine and what isn't mine and release some stuff. So, doing an inventory. How about you? How are you?
Yeah, I am also low on energy, and I know exactly why that is. I know we've been doing the inflammation challenge that you've been doing in your group and all that sort of thing. And so I'm off sugar, dairy, gluten, corn, and all those things. And over the holidays, over Canada Day, we were at fireworks and I indulged, and I've been like on this like food hangover for a few days. So that's kind of how I am. I'm not like 100% the way I was before, but I'm here. So
Yeah. Oh man, the food is so powerful. When it's good, we feel so good and we can heal so much and have such an impact on the people in our life. But when we eat things that we don't digest very well, yeah, it's hard, hey?
yeah, 100%. It's been interesting. And I knew I shouldn't, but like it's that dairy. I've been struggling with dairy, so addictive. And it was the ice cream truck because my kids had went to the ice cream truck a couple months ago, and I stayed home. I didn't even go. I was like, I'm not even going to be tempted. They can go with their auntie. And they went and had the ice cream. And then I seen it advertised, and I was like, ice cream. Ice cream's always been like my thing. So I'm going to have to find an alternative to that. But yeah.
Oh, I have a recipe to share to make your own. Yes, I'll send that to you. To make your own coconut cream ice cream, but I cannot remember. It's only like 3 ingredients, but there's one ingredient in there that really helps it to be emulsified and creamy.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'll send that to you.
Yum. Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah, that's been one thing that I've been missing out. And I've switched my language a lot too, because my family will say, Mom can't eat this. And I'm like, I can eat those things. I just choose not to because it doesn't make me feel good. And I'm trying to feel good. And so I think that helps psychologically not to be like, I can't have those things. Because I think the second we say we can't have things, we want them.
Yeah.
I know it's probably, it might be a bit different for you with allergies and stuff that you've felt these symptoms a lot over the years when you realized you had allergies and stuff. But I know for me, it's a whole new world. I just can't believe how numb I was to a lot of the food. Like even you pulling out the fact that corn was upsetting me so much. So there was like an emotional attachment to that. And oh man, this food stuff, it's like huge, we need it to be nourished, but yet it's like poisoning us.
There's a lot in it nowadays. But, my kids are like, oh, Mom, I feel so bad for you that you can't eat this. And I'm like, why? I don't feel bad. I'm glad because I feel good. Like, there's no feeling bad here. And there's energy and vitality, and my spirit's up. And that's the biggest thing.
When you feel good and you feel healthy and you feel connected, and it's not feeling bad, and it's that mindset shift that we have to do, right? In the very beginning, it can be a bit tricky. I remember kind of having a few little tantrums and being like, why? But I had to keep reminding myself that it was to feel good, to feel healthy, to feel, and so and the ripple effect that I've been seeing on my family has been huge too, right? Being like, oh, I think I want to eat less sugar. I don't think this feels good for me, right? And them being aware of the choices that they're making and making healthier choices, right? Like, can we have some more celery and carrot sticks? And That feels
Wow.
so much better than, like Canada Day, they had like cake and pops and I don't know, bags of candy. I think all the kids came home with
Oh,
bags of candy and they were feeling so sick and they were just like, Dad, can
oh,
we have
boy.
like some carrot sticks or something? Like, we don't want this.
Yeah, my kids actually three of my boys, maybe even four, get canker sores like crazy when they eat junk food. And those are painful and they last for 5 to 7 days, right? So it's like their mouth is literally protesting. Like, don't feed that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's helpful when we have those symptoms to kind of get us back on track. That's for sure.
Yeah. So talking about energy, holy moly, last week we talked about the chaos that was coming up. There was actually literally a tornado warning in my area and it got lifted, but that's what's going on. Like sometimes I'm like, bring on the wind, let's clear this energy away. Oh yeah, it feels so good. But now I'm just on the other side of it and I'm like, whew, I'm wiped out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and my daughter just went on a trip with my sister and they might not go as far as they were thinking because there's tornado warnings south of here as well, and then there's like fires on the highway, and it's like there's a lot shifting, and it makes so much sense, like with Jupiter and Uranus passing each other, and the sun being all there as well too. Is there's I'm pretty sure Uranus deals with a lot of the weather and all those things as well. There's so many pieces to astrology. Like I've learned a lot in the last few years, but it's so interesting when you start thinking of weather and health. Like health is a whole nother thing. I don't know very much about it, but in your charts, you can look into how certain foods impact you and all that. And I was looking a little bit about it recently and trying to see like why I was necessarily like super tempted on a couple days ago to have all these indulgences that I knew were not going to feel good in my body.
Well, last week you talked about addictions rising up. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So the addiction struggles were going to rise in the next week. And I mean, Canada Day is like a big party celebration. And what comes with that? Alcohol consumption, junk food consumption, all of that makes sense.
Oh, yes. Yes. Now, because I was just pulling up the astrology charts here, that does make a lot of sense. And yeah, Neptune's coming into my 4th house, which is Aries. So Aries is that impulse, that action on, yeah. And then the leadership, right? Because you're in those, the Saturn. Okay, yeah. Look at me.
I'm excited for you to learn more about the health part of it with astrology.
Yeah.
Food related and yeah. Food is like our body is nourished. Our cells are literally fed by what we eat. Like anything that's happening in our body, thus our spirit is affected by and caused by what we're putting in our mouth.
Yeah.
And things don't just happen by accident. If we're feeling good, we're feeling good for a reason. If we're not for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed that over the last few months. Like it was interesting when you were talking about the liver and how the liver gets cleansed, and like fish was a big thing, right? I remember when I started after I did the sugar detox, I was just craving fish and sardines and fish and like I just so many. And finally I'm like at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not craving that so much, but I'm craving other things like berries and different vegetables and things. And so it's when you know what parts of your body are like really detoxing based on those cravings, it's really fascinating.
And it's so cool that you can clean out the clutter and then actually listen to your body's messages.
Yeah. Well, because I always talk about intuitive eating. I use this word intuitive eating. And quite often, like, because I've only ever done a sugar detox before this, I remind people to drink water, because we think we're craving sugar, but we're actually dehydrated. And that's a huge one. And because, naturally when we're out in the forest, we're going to get water if there's no access to water through fruits and sweet things, right? So we're actually just needing hydration, and a lot of times when we're craving sugar, right?
Interesting. And I think salt would go in hand in hand with that, because when we ingest salt, we're able to retain the water better.
Yeah.
So eating something salty rather than sweet would quench that craving, right?
And we have to like kind of interpret these cravings and understand them on a more healthy level, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like what is my body actually telling me versus, going to the patterns that our brain has always gone to before, right? Those it's like we're rewiring those neural pathways in our brain.
Totally. And the dopamine center is pretty key in that. Yeah. It's our brain can be tricked pretty by the foods that we're eating. So we can definitely fulfill that dopamine center in different ways and rebuild the pathways.
Yeah. So how are you feeling for the energy coming up in the next while? I was just looking at my astrology chart here to see what's happening and where things are. The moon.
I think I think it's like a resettling. Things got really stirred up in the last week, and now it's like kind of a hunkering down and feeling balanced again and getting grounded again. And like a sense of familiarity and patterns, simplifying. Yes.
Yeah. I love that you say balance, because the moon is literally right in Libra right now. So that's all about balance and all about, that's so interesting. And then we've got a 90-degree square between the moon and the sun. So that's like kind of forcing us to act upon those things and get things rebalanced, I guess I would say, because the sun's still in Cancer. So like emotional wise, but also
balancing our priorities is what I'm getting.
Yeah. Because Cancer has to do with nurturing ourselves, nurturing others. And then what else is going on here? Yeah, and then Neptune being in Aries, so just being mindful again, like I said, of those addictions, right? Food is an addiction to the wrong things. We can be addicted to the wrong things in there. And Chiron is in Aries right now, so that's our wounds and things there, so we can act upon those as well. And Uranus, we've been feeling it for a while, the technology stuff that's happening as well too, with Uranus moving into Gemini. And that has to do with like also our identity, our thought processes, those types of things, like what we value, as Venus and Uranus are conjunct and they're slowly moving into Gemini. I know we're going to be having a whole bunch of retrogrades coming soon as well. So things are kind of in a forward motion right now, and then it's going to be like, okay, what do we need to revisit again for the end of the summer? So it'll be that backwards motion again. Okay, let's revisit what we haven't revisited. So it's like it is that settling kind of energy. It's so interesting. I love it.
Oh yeah, the universe, right? I often joke that in my next life, I don't need the lessons. Like, let's do an easy life. Let's take it easy. I've learned the lessons, right?
Yeah.
Apparently not. Bring it on again.
Yeah, it's like growth is this spiral thing, right? It's like constantly going around. Okay, have you done it again? Have you learned the lesson? Have you learned the lesson? Versus like it's not just straightforward. Like, okay, you learned it. Now you're going over here. It's like, no, we're gonna go around again and around again.
So talking about lessons, what lesson right now do you think is rearing its head for you?
Oh, definitely to do with food is,
Oh,
um, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just because I can feel it's like a food hangover from like my husband when I was describing it yesterday. He's like, that sounds like you're having a pretty brutal like hangover from like even alcohol or something. I was like, yeah, I haven't had alcohol for I don't know years and years. But so that I guess the biggest lesson for me right now would be just listening to my body and not trusting my own values and trusting myself and not getting caught up in what is going on outside of me and
right.
kind of keeping it back here because we can be such creatures of habit and like fall in with what other people are doing and all those sorts of things. And I don't know, that the ice cream was just it was like the one that was just calling out to me. And then I just like from there it was like a snowball effect. It was just like all the things. So I don't want to feel like this. I really don't. Like, I had such a bad reaction when I went off of sugar that I'm like, with those two things, if I can keep that in my mind's eye and just not do it anymore, I think that's my biggest thing right now. It's just because I can't, we live in this body, in this vessel. That's all we have. This is our home, right? Here on the earth. And so I feel like I want my body to be as healthy and as clean and as pure as possible so that I can, connect to spirit easier, so I can be focused with my family and grounded and connected and, enjoy my days and not have a day where I'm like,
Oh, yeah. It's
okay.
virtually impossible to meditate when you feel like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything is so cloudy.
Yeah. Well, I knew we were doing this call and I was like, hey, Amy, how can you get focused? And I'm just like, I just can't right now.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Like, thank you for being honest and sharing that because, like, we all need camaraderie. We need to talk about the challenges and the real challenges. And I myself have been struggling with also getting caught up in the energy of the culture and doubting myself and going through areas of my life. Right now, I'm doubting lately that I'm filling the needs of my children, that I am enough for them with homeschooling,
Yeah.
that my son's going into grade 9. I'm listening to the cultural messages and I'm getting more and more down on myself about that area. Right. And then I was on my run this morning and I was like recognizing the energy. And I was like, okay, stop. Go into your solar plexus. What do you know is true? I am enough. I can trust myself. I make good decisions.
You do.
But we need those reminders. We need to like connect to our power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that the ice cream calling you is the ice cream. It's the energy is like, okay, you just need this reminder. Like my husband is like, you know what? Once in a while, I need to remember how bad a Big Mac makes me feel.
Yeah.
And I go back to McDonald's a few times a year, and then I'm sick for a day or two because I ate that burger.
Yeah. Yeah. We need those reminders. Yeah. It's so you said something that was so interesting and it made me think of a line I share with people is like we need to share in spaces with other people and have that camaraderie and those conversations and I always say shame shared in safe spaces dissolves. It's like, it's a quote I heard years ago. And it's like, the more we can talk about these things and be open about these things versus just going the path of continuing to numb and to escape. It's escapism, escaping from who we are in our body. And like you say, calling that power back and reminding ourselves that we're making these choices. Because as homeschool moms, it's a lot. We have a lot of pressures from the external world coming in on us as you were speaking. And it's like, you know, reminding ourselves that we get to find communities and safe spaces to share these things so that we are able to continue to do the things that we value and we enjoy and we love and that feel good for us, right? And so it's all pulling that power back in here versus letting those external influences influence us. And I always love that, sharing in a shame shared in a safe space dissolves.
And yeah, being honest, right? Like we're not all nailing everything. We're not, you know, masters at everything. We're all on a journey and there are struggles. That's real. That's real life. And I'm not saying that calling my power back to my solar plexus today is going to fix everything in that area. I will have to continue to do that because there's a lot of energy out there to navigate. There's a lot of messages telling us that we are not doing a good enough job, that we are not doing this right and that right and this right and that right. And actually, you know what? One of my goals that I identified is to be the matriarch. I've never really identified that, but it's time for me to step into my grandmother wisdom.
Yeah. Oh, I get chills with you saying that.
Yeah, and we need the grandmothers.
We do.
We need that energy.
Yeah. And that heart, it makes me think of the heart-led leadership, where, you know, the grandmother energy where they nurture and they care and they, you know, like I always remember when I was doing canning and you were like, oh, that reminds me of what my Nana, I think you call her, used to do.
My Baba, yeah.
Baba, yeah.
Ukrainian.
My Baba used to do. And yeah, we need more of that. And I've been being called for years to connect with the land, connect with the earth, the gardens. And that's a lot with what my grandma used to do as well. They had a huge garden on a farm and all the animals, and did a lot of canning and those types of things. And so the more we can, you know, follow those roles and step into that and being the matriarch, because we're getting, you know, we've raised our children are, you know, at an older, they're mid-range, older age, you know, they're not toddlers anymore. And it's such a strong, and it's needed. It's so needed in such a loving place in this world to have those matriarchs and those pillars, you know, they are pillars. Matriarchs are pillars.
Yeah. I don't see a matriarch as being necessarily a doormat or the one that's always sweet and kind. She's also the grandmother wolf that's like snapping at the babies and putting them in line. And I don't know why that came up, actually. I think that's an internal battle I've been having lately, is embracing that part of me that's not sweet and accommodating, because I'm old now and I'm not accommodating and I'm not putting up with the crap anymore. So
yeah. Well, that wisdom that, you know, we carry as we get older is so important to have. And sometimes that is holding those boundaries with people and saying, no, this is not the way it goes. Like, I know from experience, you need to trust me, right? And it's the way a matriarch kind of presents herself and goes about. And yeah, like things don't fly when you go to grandma's house sometimes, you know, because she's holding that energy and keeping everybody in line, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Teaching
love that.
without being obvious.
Yeah. And as women, we've been told to not be mean and, you know, to be nice and to be kind all the time. And that's not fully what feminine energy really even like, and we all have feminine masculine energy, right? So it's not realistic for us to always be kind and nice. And there's, in some of my groups, we've played with the predator prey archetypes as well. And when we can really make amends and understand our predator, we all have that predator energy inside, and we all have that prey energy. And it could be like dom and sub energy as well, looked at that way. And there's, you know, and actually in a really good dom and sub dynamic, the sub is in charge, right? And the, you know, but we've looked at all those dynamics, and it's so fascinating. Oh my gosh. But we do have to make amends and find the beauty within all parts of us, because we have all parts of us inside. And again, you know, we need to share about it and speak about it and have communities where we can talk about this stuff and discuss these things.
Yeah, if you pay attention, you in a moment can choose to dominate or not in any situation. It's a choice that you make. Yeah. So yeah, that calls to the importance of taking a moment. How important is it to take a moment instead of feeling that pressure to respond or speak or act, and just take that second and decide how you want to be today or in this minute.
Yeah, lots to discuss. I know you and I could chat all day about some of this stuff. I love it. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, so we should talk about our giveaway.
Yes, let's talk about that. I can't believe we haven't talked about it yet. But yeah, since we're launching our podcast, we are doing a giveaway. So all you need to do is fill out the Google Docs form that is within the description or link. I'll make sure it's in all the descriptions on all the places and on social medias and all those places. And you fill that out, and then you get as many points as you can from sharing, liking, doing all the things, subscribing to the channel. And then we will draw it on, when are we drawing it on?
I think it was the 17th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I raised my voice there because, I mean, I can't believe we're in July already.
Yeah, I think we're going to draw it. So we'll do another episode next week. And then, so 2 weeks from now, the 17th, we will be drawing a winner. So if you're watching this before the 17th, make sure to fill out that Google form and be entered to win. Lana's giving away an intuitive guidance session. Coaching session, yeah.
And listen to your guidance.
Yeah. So
and are
value. What's the value of that?
That's a $144 session.
144, yeah. Perfect. And then I'm going to be giving away an astrology reading, which is $44.44, valued at that. So you just need to know your birth time and location and all those things, and we'll dive into your astrology chart and answer any questions you have, or an area of life or a question. Usually one question gets us pretty deep into astrology, but depending on your chart, sometimes we can do a couple more questions depending. So we'll be giving those away. And yeah, I think that's about that. If you have any questions, just reach out to Lana or I. We are happy to answer those questions. And yeah, any last remarks or comments?
Thanks for the visit.
Yeah, I always appreciate it. Yeah. Coffee conversations are so fun. All right. Have a beautiful day, everyone. And we will see you next week. And make sure to fill out the Google form, and we will see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for starting your day with us. If you felt a spark today, share this episode with a friend and leave us a review or a comment. It helps our community grow. You can find us at amybolton.ca and lanaslantern.com to keep vibing between episodes. Until next time, stay soft, stay sovereign, and stay tuned in.